Okay, one more. One more. Okay, I think that's everyone. This one's a little crooked. Over here. Over here. Done. Okay. Goodness, sorry for the delay, everyone. My mom got to the house late to watch the baby. She got there at 9:30 when I'm supposed to be here at 9:30, so nothing I can do about that. So anyway, welcome to Zen Appeal Yoga this morning. We're doing another 60-minute restorative yoga practice. So I have my my foray of pillows next to me, and I need to get my blocks too, which are over here in case I need them. Okay, blocks, pillows. Hopefully you're there with me. If not, you can catch it on replay. It will be on YouTube, just on the Zen Appeal Yoga YouTube, as always. And then we'll have, we'll see if Instagram stays there or not. That one's been interesting with saving the videos. And then on Facebook, hopefully it's there too. So anyway, let's start moving into our practice today. Just a nice, comfortable sit, just to check in with the body and the mind. Sometimes our sleep is not the best. Sometimes it's the most fantastic. We just check in to see what version of that we might still be carrying with us into this practice. The sleep lingers in the morning. So we'll start to make our lotus flower, taking the arms out, allowing enough space in the hands to be cupped, right? So that the flower can bloom. We take the edges of the hands, we make our nice lotus flower. We take the flower, we place it close to the heart. Take a nice inhale. Om on the exhale. And thank you all for joining me today. Namaste. Let's get started. So we're going to start on lying down in Shavasana. We're going to take our pillows to support our knees. And again, it could be any pillow. These pillows that I bring just happen to be perfectly shaped for this kind of practice. It's from an IKEA couch. Just happened to be. So let's take rest, lying down. And you're trying to get to a place where when you're in these poses that you don't feel you feel comfort more than you feel discomfort. How about that? So that's why we use the pillows, blankets, whatever we have to find a place of comfort so that our body can ease itself, calm down the nerves, the mind can relax even more. So check in, notice where you might be holding on to any resistance. That would be you holding on to a muscle or overarching the back. Any place where you feel tension, just move into more breath and let those places soften and help the body find more relaxation. All about the breath. I'm going to stay here for another 3 full inhales and exhales. You don't have to take an ujjayi breath here. This is not a vinyasa practice. You can just simply notice your breath. Just a natural breath. All right. So we're going to go right into a nice child's pose, supported. So let's gently start to make our way up from the earth. And we'll take our block or pillows. And yes, I will probably say blocks for pillows often because I'm used to saying blocks and not pillows. I don't teach a restorative practice except for here. All right. So I have my big cushion so that I can rest my entire body on top of it. So our legs are going to be baby toe or big toes touching in the back and some open space in between the knees. So already this is a bit of a hip opener and a little bit of inner thigh stretch. And for those whose ankles need a bit of stretching, you'll definitely feel the ankle stretch here. But we're going to shift the weight forward on top of the pillow. So we pull the pillow in, and then we just start to see what kind of comfort and lift that we need to rest on top of this pillow. And literally, it feels like you're just back in the bed because it is so fantastically comfortable. So what you might notice if you happen to be on a super hard surface is that the insides of the knees you may start to feel. So that might be a good place for maybe not necessarily a pillow or anything that high, because then you would have to lift the torso up too. But maybe just a towel, like double over, just for the connection of the knee to the floor. So it's just a bit softer. And this is just fantastic. I have my arms reaching forward, like I'm giving the pillow a nice big hug. And you're going to have to watch the neck as well because it's turned here. If we had our face into the pillow, it wouldn't feel good, right, in terms of breathing. So probably after some time, you'll want to turn the head over to the left side or just the other side, wherever you're facing, so that you can get a bit of stretch for the neck, because this is the stretch for the neck on the other side, the companion stretch. You could think of right side and left side as companions in your body, even top half of body and bottom half of body, companions. Front part of body, back part of body, companions. And remember, we're trying to find that place where we are comfortable here. And this is fairly comfortable. I can feel the insides of my knees too, just because it's pressing on the medial side of my knee, which is when you start to get up in years, that's the first place that starts to go on you. If you just happen to look, whether male or female, it doesn't really matter. Just female has a little bit wider hip in terms of the angle of the hip joint into your thigh bone. The end of the thigh bone at the knee is inward. And then the lower bone, it points straight down. So right there you can already notice that after time, that would be the first joint that would start to probably have just aging effects coming on. And just FYI, I'm able to do all kinds of things, even though I have this aging thing happening. I try to support my body as best I can with strength and stretch. And then even these kind of practices, which is nice and relaxing. It's good for the mind. I'm going to turn my head. Then we'll take about 5 more breaths. And then we'll change to something else. So 5 more breaths. All right. Starting to come back. I could probably sleep in that one. It's fantastically relaxing. Let me just go ahead and say that right now. Okay. So we're going to find still this kind of open hip stretch in a lunge, in a low lunge. In yin yoga, it's called dragons. Yeah, all kinds of dragons. So just find a nice little box and we'll send the leg forward. We'll say the right leg forward. And just see what that feels like. So now you might notice, okay, now I feel that it's a little bit more challenging, right? I don't get to relax as much as I could, right? If I was lying down on something. So maybe we can take a different version of this. Instead of having the shin up on the foot, maybe we drop down to the knee. So I have this still a big stretch for the back leg. It's not necessarily a pigeon because I just have my front leg folded. And I'm going to bring the pillow back in just how I had it a minute ago. And so my back leg is a straight leg, just relaxing the top of the foot. Front one is bent forward. I have the knee pulled. Then here I'll probably bring some extra pillows in the front just to support my head. And I am back here. And we're back to this fantastic stretch. I'm relaxed. So you're just trying to find a place where the body can relax into different shapes. Very passive, very passive. You get a nice face squish. These are harder pillows, just a little bit in the front. So they give me a good face squish, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. Remember awareness of your breath, nice and relaxed. We'll take about 4 more breaths. legs start to come back. Start to bring yourself up. So here, I'm probably just going to turn around because it's two sides, of course. So I'm going to move pillows onto the bed and turn myself down. And I suppose if you want, we'll just do it that way. So we have and leaving my leg just up here, just bringing my left leg forward just to see what it feels like for a second before I tuck it under. So tucking the shin under and make sure that the leg in the back feels supported or lifted. Pillows in the front. And it's the other side. Of course, this side I feel a little bit more sensations. I feel a little bit more hip, just in a relaxing state, and a little bit more the medial knee I talked about just a moment ago. So when we're holding these still poses or shapes, we're not exactly trying to fall asleep. I mean, it would be nice, but we're still trying to stay aware. We're trying to stay here. So you're just above that place of falling asleep. You can call it yoga nidra, if you like. Finding that deepest state of relaxation that you can find, yet you are fully aware. We'll say about 4 more breaths here. All right. That's nice. Okay, coming. Moving the pillows off to the side. And it shouldn't feel worked by any means. It should feel calm and relaxed. And I feel pretty relaxed right now. Okay, so one of my favorite shapes, which I think we did with this one last week too, is a Supta Karmasana, or sleeping tortoise. I just love this shape. So our legs are bent but long, so not pulled all the way up like a cobbler or butterfly pose, but a little bit longer. It's like, think of the outer edges of a tortoise shell, right? That oval shape. And the shell comes from the spine with the forward folding, right? So already when you start to lean forward, you're like, oh, there's some sensations there, and there probably will be. That's why I labeled this sort of yin practice, just in case some of you might feel not as comfortable, we'll say. You start to feel a little bit more than maybe you would in a restorative practice, right? So I'm going to take the big pillow first, and I'm just going to let my body hang out on top of the pillow with my legs in sleeping tortoise. And the head, I'm just going to drop down to the chin. So yes, this is stretching my neck, and it's also giving a little bit of flexion in the back of the neck. So if this is comfortable for you, you can always turn side to side, and I may end up switching that too. Supta Karmasana is forehead, chin tucked in, but again, we have the pillows here, so, you know. I don't exactly love the sensation I feel on the back of the neck, but I don't exactly dislike it so much to change, at least not yet, but I have a feeling that I'll probably end up changing here in a moment. So I do happen to feel immediately when I took the fold, my lower spine. What else do I feel? I still feel that left knee, just a little bit. So I'm going to try to actually rearrange the pillow to see if that fixes it. So you can stay exactly where you are, because you might not have a pillow as long as mine. So I'm going to try to go the other direction and see what that feels like. Now what I did is I ended up giving my more weight to my knees. I don't exactly dislike it, so I'm just going to stay with it. Just adding more things over here. I'm trying to see if I can get my body even more relaxed. That's pretty relaxed. Let's say about 3 more breaths here. All right. Ooh, I feel that one. Even though passive, you still get some interesting sensations that come through the body. So extend the legs. Just be still for a moment. Just see what everything that you feel. So we're going to start to move backwards a little bit into some back bending and see what that feels like today. And I'm going to start small. With a small pillow. So for some of you, even just lying on the floor, coming into Shavasana with the legs straight, you see that there's no connection fully the lower back to the floor, right? You get a little bit of lift, so there's a little bit of back bend there already. So to give it a little bit more, come here. Taking a small pillow or rolled up towel and just in your lower back, in the arch of the back, and let it rest there. The arms, you can just extend off to the side and just hang out here. A little bit of back bend. So this is actually very satisfying pose from our last pose, which is a lot of lower spine stretching from the subdhikramasa or sleeping tortoise. And then you come here and you get this nice, just a subtle back bend. And for me, the smaller flat pillow is a subtle back bend. For you, it might be just resting in Shavasana. And do a scan, always being aware of your body. Notice if you're pulling a muscle, holding a muscle, activating, engaging a muscle. Try to be relaxed here. Let the body just mold into the shape without any muscle interference. I should say engagement with the muscles. Our muscles are still doing something here. They're stretching in the front, and they're to hold the shape there. They have to activate a little bit. We're just not giving it a strong nerve response. We're saying, hey, relax into this shape. Yeah, so fun fact. I just yawned, right? You might not be staring at me, which is fine. I just had a yawn. And I was watching a kid show yesterday with my son called Ryan's World, right? His mom always does all these science experiments, and she teaches you. She's very smart. I'm assuming she's very smart because she's the one who does the science experiments and whatnot. So anyway, they were talking about yawning. And I never knew that yawning was a way to cool down the brain. Who knew? I learned something new yesterday. So apparently my brain needed to be cooled down a little bit. And yawning also, which I didn't know is, well, I know it's contagious, but I didn't know that it would be contagious with your animals too. You can yawn in front of your animals, like your dog, and your dog will yawn too. It's very interesting. So we'll stay for about 3 more breaths. Okay, I can stay here longer, but let's start to come up and see what that back bend felt like today. I feel a little bit of the arch. I feel a little bit of the muscles. Okay, next is a dragonfly and a fold again. So we open up the legs and we just see what that feels like today. First, before I bring in any of the cushions. Right about there, I start to feel a lot more activity. So let's see what I can do to relax this. So I'm going to start with my big pillow in front and see if I can get relaxed. That's not so bad. Okay. So for some of you, you might want to have a bent leg here, but that's actually going to bring in a bit more stretch. Let me see. Let me bend the legs and take a fold. Yeah, I definitely feel more stretch. So actually, I'm gonna keep it and just see what happens at the end of it. So whenever you're ready, nice big pillow hug, and we rest. And probably the head turn would be better. I'm gonna make sure that my feet are in the same plane so that my hips are a little bit more straight or in line. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're in line either, but they're creating the right pattern, pointing in the same direction and being in the same plane that my hips might level out. It's theory. Let's see what happens from a place of relaxation. because I can feel ones that are not level. Try to relax. Try to stay here, not falling asleep. Get into the deepest state of relaxation that you can. And if your head is turned, find the other side. Starting to feel kind of a step up here. I guess if you want to use the pain scale, maybe like a 2. So started to pop up in my lower back. Somewhere between a 1 and a 2. It's kind of like I notice it. It wants to go a little further, and then it comes back. It's interesting. I'm taking my neck neutral for a moment. It's starting to become a bit strong. I have a little bit of a car injury there. Sometimes I feel it on my head's turned left. I feel it a bit more. Ooh, I felt a lot of stretch coming on now. Inner thighs picked up. Mm-hmm. For me personally, probably if I were to take this passive stretch, maybe a little bit more often. I already have a flat upavishta, but I feel like I'm feeling different things or stretching, finding more space here, if that makes sense, in this passive version right now. That if I were to take this more often or just stay longer, it would be interesting in my body. Oh, I feel it in my glutes. I can tell I'm getting antsy because I'm wanting to move more. It's a good practice for your mind too, being still. All right. Just have to bring that up. Ooh, right there. Mm-hmm. Move the blocks off to the side. Yeah, they feel more grounded. Less tension or less resistance. All right, take a moment here. Time for another back bend. Okay. So back bend and a thigh. And I know we did this one last week. Good old saddle. So first we'll take the leg and internally rotate. And see what that feels like. This is my right one. My right one is kind of like my lead sprinting leg or running leg. It was my fast leg when I used to run half marathons, whatever. My left one was the hamstring, steady state, and the right one was the kick. Let me go faster. So anyway, it's always tighter, always stronger. It's always lifted, not as comfortable as my left side. Even into the foot, I have an ankle injury, so it's like maybe it's just being right-handed. I don't know where that comes from. I haven't spent the time to do any research to see what that might be. If there's any science behind it, I'm sure there is. So anyway, I'm tucking my big pillow underneath the hips. And definitely I feel a whole lot of ankle here in this pointed foot or plantar flexion, which is, of course, normal. I'm sitting right on top of it, right? Even though I'm on the pillow. So I'm going to take a moment just to kind of hang out here and see if it will relax in a little bit. But I know if I keep a constant bit of weight here that my ankle is going to start to go numb. So we don't want that to happen. That's too much. That's too much. That tells you it's too much. But starting to lean backwards is where we're going. So now I'm taking the weight out of the ankle, even though it's pointed foot, but it's pointed and I'm not pressing the bone into the floor, which that's where it was just a moment ago. I'm going to get another pillow and tuck it behind me. I definitely feel a little off center today. Maybe from yesterday's practice, I don't know. But it's not bad. I still have a bit more sensation than say, a restorative pose. It's definitely more yin-y. There's a little bit of discomfort, just a little. And I might not even give it a full discomfort for it, but has a lot more sensation. And plus this leg is up, which to be up, it's not relaxed. If it was relaxed, it would fall off to the side. So I'm having to be a little bit more active than say a nice passive restorative fully rested pose. But for some of you, this might actually be fully resting for you. There might be some super stretchy folks out there. Or maybe this is your more in terms of this pattern or shape. Starting to get more comfortable in the thigh, not necessarily the ankle. All right, so we're going to start to rise up and shift into the other side. So when you get up, release the leg, of course. Let them be straight and let your spine round a little forward for a moment. Take about 3 breaths just to get out of the back bend feel. I can hear some music off into the distance behind me being played. I guess somebody is working at the shop today on a Sunday. All right, ready for the other side? So we have our left leg. We internally rotate. Oh, let me do this a little different. Let me get here first. Same as before, we started with the leg internally rotated, other one straight. That's a bit of stretch. Still feel the the foot, the point. Okay, so I'm going to bring in a big pillow, give it a sit. Other leg bend, plant the foot on the floor. That's comfortable too. Starting to make my way into the lean backwards. Lots of sensations over here. All right, I'm going in. Oh yes, this is so relaxing. So that's why the pillows are here. If the pillows were not here, I would not be screaming the same tune. I might be just screaming. No, it's not that bad. I do this without the pillows in vinyasa practice, the gentle waves that I teach pretty often. And it's not super discomfortable, uncomfortable. But I definitely feel a whole lot more than being supported on pillows. So there's that. I feel the medial knee, the inside of the knee on this one. This is my boo-boo knee. My knee that decided to age a little bit faster than the other one. I feel it just a little bit. It's just saying, hey, I'm here. It's not really moving into any more pain or anything like that. It's just giving me a little bit more of something to be aware of. That's all. And I didn't mention, but so we took this pose last week. And last week, I believe I had my arms up and I had different positioning for the pillow, which basically just makes you back bend more and gives you arm stretch, a little bit more latissimus dorsi stretch. This time I'm going even more passive, just leaving the legs in the stretch part, resting the arms and the upper back. Or the latissimus dorsi, but I still feel the back bend, of course. Just I could always bring in more sensation, but I'm not this time. And it's more relaxing, of course, but just throwing that out there. I'll say about 2 more breaths. All right. Nice. Release the leg. Let your knees have a little break and lean a little forward. All right, so last pose is a twist again, but a different one. So a little bit of a prone twist that, again, I do a lot of vinyasa practices. So we're just going to tuck the legs over to one side. And so the front of my pelvis or hips are facing you. And then the pillow, I'm going to have here long ways. I'm going to take a little turn, facing down, rest the head. And this will be very delicious. It already is once I got in here. So you get the comfort of resting forward, folding on the big pillow, which is always great. And B, you get a little bit of a twist, and you might even end up noticing you get an iliotibial band stretch here. Oh, very delicious. Oh, yes. This would be a good one to sleep in. But don't do it. I'm just saying. Okay, how about just a quick nap, but not here. It's always good to sleep in Shavasana, like you're sleeping like real sleep. Everything is in a neutral place. The head's not elevated. The neck muscles aren't being stretched. So there's no shoulder or neck problems because you're sleeping sideways, or back problems. When you're nice and flat on your spine, the back of the body, all of it connected to the earth, that is your most optimal place to sleep, just what I have found. And then I guess if you use logic and also working with clients, as I have, or on the fitness side, even in yoga, it just blended into those two. I've noticed lots of shoulder issues with people who sleep on their shoulders, necks too, etc., etc. So anyway, maybe a cat nap. You would stay in this shape. So for me, the hardest place to relax is the neck, and it might be because I'm talking and moving the head a little bit. That's the hardest place. And of course, I already have the neck boo-boo from whatever car accident that was. I leave things in the body that show back up when you get older. Well, it's always good to look smart, make smart decisions using logic. So 2 more breaths, and we'll shift into the other side. All right. Rising up. Oi. And find yourself neutral. And switch into the other side. And we do the same thing with the legs. Just tuck them under. And the front of the pelvis is facing you. Bring in my nice big pillow on top of the pillow. Turn. Now this side, actually feel the twist. A little bit more. So maybe it's just because I had to relax here a moment. It's starting to shift more relaxing or balanced. Let me see if I can fix my head a little bit. Okay, this is good. Mm-hmm. And notice on your body, if you're still having places of resistance, maybe this is a side that you notice a little bit more. And always remember to listen to your body. When you move into any type of movement practice, or still practice here, but anything that moves, your body's going to say yes, no, strong sensation, no sensation. Just observe it. You can learn a lot if you're paying attention. Strengths, things that need to be worked on a little bit more. Poses, shapes that are satisfying. Some that aren't, but actually do good for your body that you need. Oh, time's flying by today. That's good. Sometimes time, I'm going to say sometimes, time is very interesting. When you're young, it feels like time is just endless. It's just, oh my God, when are we going to get there? That kind of thing, right? It's like, oh my God, when is school going to end? It's that, right? Even on a daily basis, oh, it just feels so long. Now it's like, wow, it's already September. Or it's already whatever year it is, or you're just like, wow, where's the time go? It's crazy, how fast it is. And I actually thought that we were slower than fast. That was my mind's perception of the time. So there's that. Say 2 more breaths or so. I would absolutely love to stay in this pose, this shape, whatever you want to call it, prone twist, longer. But alas, up we go. Give your knees a break, your spine a break, just nice and neutral. So this would be a good time to give yourself maybe a minute or so just flat in Shavasana. And I'll go ahead and make my way there. And I'm going to take it without any support. I'm just going to lie flat on the earth. And you can stay here as long as you like. I'm just going to give myself another breath, and I'll come up to bid you adieu, or until next time. So again, stay as long as you need to in that pose. It's good to kind of set everything flat or neutral, and then get up and see what the body says to all of what we just did today. So I appreciate all of you for joining me today. I hope this restorative practice, yin practice, did something for you. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I will see you all next week. Until then, all my love. Namaste. Oh, I feel good. Woo. Mm.